Previously on Evolution on the Mic.
And we are back, season 3, The Journey to Success. Episode 10, we will be bringing back our good friend Andrea Lee to the show. She will be discussing her new book, The Power to Change the Way You Love Yourself, 10 life-changing steps to self-love.
Growing up, I didn't have really good parents. And I didn't know what love was. So people use that word like, I love you. And I used to get offended. You don't even know me. How do you love me? It's layers to this self-love journey. Making sure you overcome those childhood traumas and don't take it on to your kids, and teach them how to love properly, right? Themselves and others.
Self-love, you take care of every area of your life: spirituality, financially, health, personal life, professional life. You try your best to have everything sane and good for yourself. I would like to know, Andrea, for you, in your experience working with people and even going through this yourself, what is the one that people struggle the most with? Like which step is the one that you'll say this one is? And then I'd also like to know which one is the one that you found the most impactful for you to get through.
I believe that the self-forgiveness part is difficult for a lot of people, because you take that on and carry it on to your life. And it's just like, why am I stuck here? Because I haven't forgiven myself, right? And then it's tough, because it's like, if I would have just did this differently. And we hear that a lot from people. It's my fault. And even I could say relationships, past relationships, like, you know what? And I know it's cliche. It's not you, it's me. Because I allowed you to do this to me. And that's that self-forgiveness part. Like, I didn't make them cheat. I didn't make them do that, but you blame yourself, right? If I had more time, I could have did this. If I worded this differently, or I was there more, like, why is it my fault? I didn't do the wrong. So the self-forgiveness is tough. It's tough. Even like when you have children, it's just like, oh, I have grown children, and I still blame myself for things that they're doing in their adult life. Like, maybe if I didn't work so much, they wouldn't have did this. They wouldn't have did that. So it's hard. The forgiveness part is super hard. And I think that's the toughest one. But the one that I'm working on is this accepting every part of me, because I don't want it, a lot of it, because it was trauma, right? But that's part of who I am. And that made me the person that I am today. The knowing that I had to experience these things to get to who I am today. And that's tough, So a lot of them, like valuing myself and just understanding these different things. It's scary, because it was hard for me to let people go, but easy, right? And sometimes I let the wrong people go because I'm in my feelings. And I'm like, well, they did me wrong and I can't have that. So I don't know them anymore. And in my mind, they were like dead to me. I would have a whole funeral and everything, and I wouldn't know them, really. And then people would call me and be like, Andrea, I love you. And you just walked out of my life. And I'm like, well, I just felt like you wasn't good for me. And sometimes I was right and sometimes I was wrong. But in the knowing myself now, just the connections I have with my team, and it's beautiful. So I have this friend, Leandra Wilson. Single thing I do, she supports me. And when I first started my catering business, I had got this big job for Amazon. And I made this food for like 40 people. And I'm in this parking lot, and it's a steep hill, and I'm pushing this cart of food, and I'm tired. I cooked all night, my arms hurt, and now I have to do manual labor. I don't do manual labor. So it was difficult for me, right? And the whole cart almost fell. And I was just like, God, please help me. And that was him I need help. But I was like, I didn't want to ask people for help, right? I didn't want to do that. So what part of the loving is that part, right? Knowing how to ask for help, knowing the
Mm.
self. And so when I talked to my friend, she was like, why would you do that? I said, well, I don't want to burden you. Well, I'm your friend. But I didn't know what real friendship was until actually Lee Andrea, and it's crazy. We've been friends for a long time. And then when I start opening up and forgiving and healing, great things start happening. People start moving out of my life. It was scary. So now I have this Team Creative Love Network with Larry Love and Miss Diane, and they're just so amazing. And it's like family. And now my son is working in the business. He wants to learn the book so he could teach it. So we have this opportunity to get the book accredited so I could teach it and people get CEUs. But it's just not one book, right? So the first book is this one, The Power to Change the Way to Love Yourself, the 10 Steps to Self-Love, right? And then we have the journal that would also help. And in some of the titles, like the first one, the positive self-talk, finding happiness within, self-reflection, and through the mirror exercises that we will do, a quick mirror exercise, writing forgiveness letters to yourself. So it's an activity in here where you write the forgiveness letter to yourself, seeking professional guidance. And as minorities, we feel like, oh, we can heal ourselves. We go to church. I can get on my knees and pray. All to be, forgiven. I wake up, I feel better in the morning, but we need that extra help. And then finding purpose and meaning, cultivating connections, right? The right connections, practicing self-compassion. So all of this is in this journal, and this is every day, and this is like 200 pages. You can write notes, it's activities, it's everything. And then I have the Power to Change the Way workbook, right? So it's a
Nice.
workbook you go through. And there's pages in here that you could just write. It's a self-portrait about yourself, questions and reflections. And then we end it with the affirmations,
Wow,
right?
affirmations is important.
And so the first affirmation in this book, it's changing the way I love myself begins with recognizing my worth. And that's important, right? Changing the way I love myself is within me every moment.
Oof, I
And
like
I'm
that.
going to add to it at the end of the book where you can write your own The Power to Change the Way You Love Yourself affirmations at the back. And you can do these activities with your friends, your family in a group setting. And I'm also going to have a workshop and a conference. And we teach this to people in I teach anger management. So I teach it in my anger management class. I teach parenting. I teach it in my parenting class because you have to get to the foundation of who you are in order to build your children up, right? Because if I have all these issues and I'm projecting this onto my kids, then it's going to be a continued cycle of trauma. And we want to end that. And I'm not saying that I have all the answers and I'm healed. I'm still a work in progress. So I'm still reading these books. I'm still reading these affirmations and writing more. I'm
Yep.
still journaling. And I feel like that's important to write everything out. I talk in my phone. I have a new idea and I want to share it, but I didn't have that. And I feel like with my Creative Love family, and I have a friend, Lynn E. Smith. She's such an amazing, dynamic, powerful speaker. You guys should have her on one day too. And my business partners, they're amazing. And it's just so much love in our group, in our community, right? And
Mm.
it's just, I never felt love like that before until I start working on me. I love my kids, and I would say, I only love them. I don't love anybody else. Well, that's selfish, right? So I had to start thinking differently and doing things differently. I don't know everything. And just because I have that hurt doesn't mean that I project it onto everybody else. I can't say that I'm never going to have a good relationship because I experienced some bad ones because I haven't dated everyone in America. So it's
Don't even laugh.
foolish, to say that. And like you said, Ariane, that your person would come to you. But I think we make the mistake of going out there and finding them in the wrong places. I go to the grocery store, I drop a loaf of bread, and the guy pick it up. Oh, that's my soulmate. No, it's not.
Ah,
Nice gentleman. It's helping you with
Yeah,
something that fell. But we believe these things. Oh, that's a sign. No, you will know.
you will know. Yeah.
And when it's your person and when you have that connection, like I have a guy, and and I never
Okay.
felt this way about anybody before, and it's scary. And we had to have this conversation because I was in my feelings and I sent this text message. And he's like, well, let's talk about it. Like you have feelings. You can act all day like you're hard, like you don't have, any feelings, but what was the problem? I'm in my feelings. Say it again. I'm in my feelings. So it's just like about having those adult conversations and getting to the betterment of you and who you are. Like reintroducing yourself as many times as you have to, forgiving those past experiences and the future ones that you might make. We're human beings, we're not perfect, right? Healing. We heal, we're continuing to heal because I buried things deep in the back of my mind because I was embarrassed. I didn't want to talk about that. I don't want people to know, that part about me. But everybody have this misconception that I had these wonderful parents because they assume, well, I am a great person. But they're like, oh, you must have some wonderful parents. You're so respectful. You're so this. You're so giving. I choose to be like this every single day. I never want to be a bad person. I know how it feels for somebody to do you wrong, so I never want to be that. I want us to be the opposite. But I don't want to keep fighting to do stuff to prove anything to anybody else but myself.
Yeah,
I'm not in competition with anybody else, not even myself. I want to be great because I'm great, but we all could be great. We all have a platform. We all can make it. And support is everything. And I want to support you guys like you support me, right? And so every time I was
absolutely.
sharing the videos from last time again and going back and watching and telling people you guys need to watch this. Like it's some really great information in what they're saying. And we need this. Just rambling, hearing stuff from ourselves or our friends, we need to hear a different perspective sometimes. And sometimes
Exactly.
that we're stuck in our own circles and our own stuff. We clicked up, and I don't like that.
Yeah.
I think when I have events, me and my team, everybody is included. Inclusion is important. I learned I'm going to a concert. I don't even know Spanish. At this LA Poet Society, and they invited me to a concert at the Hollywood Bowl, and it was a bunch of Spanish artists, and I had a good time. We had a good time.
Awesome.
Up yourself to different things. And then this week, I'm going to a Shaka Khan concert with them. But
Ooh,
our community is not just Black people because I'm Black. Like, that doesn't make sense. We are human beings. And why do we define ourselves by a race, a color, or a religion? Everything is to separate. And I don't want to do that, right? I've never been that type of person. My kids are like that too. I'm like, and I just want things to be more loving, like we see or we hear from different things in the Bible or God. We make God this weak person, I feel sometimes. Like, people tell you, but that's your mom, no matter what she did. She tried to kill me, but that's your mom. And it's like, no, I'm not accepting that. Or you have an
yep.
uncle that nobody talks about that's molesting and raping people in the family, but he can come to all the cookouts and do all the things. No. And that's about standing up for yourself, right? And knowing
Yep.
what you could do and what you could take. And that's about self-love and self-healing. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to subject my children to this person just because he's quote unquote family. That's not
Nope.
that's not okay. So we need to get past that. And that's how the trauma also continues with hiding those things in the back of our mind. We know that he's not a good person, but he's blood or she's blood, right? So I feel like it's important. And even when I finish the journal or finish the book, I'm going to reread it, redo it, revamp it, because I started this book in 2019
Wow.
and it was just the ebook because I didn't really know what I was doing. And I tried to do everything myself, and that's not always the good thing because that's not loving yourself either. Put too much pressure on yourself, you're trying to do this, you fail, or you barely, make it, and then you're disappointed in the things that you did. And so when I went to this writing school, I was like, I'm gonna, work on this book more because I felt like I needed it. And I worked in social services for 20 years, worked with young girls that were trafficked and different things like that, even young men. I work with adults that were mentally ill, and it's
Wow.
about they like drugs was their escape, but that's not love. You're damaging your body. You're not going to be here that long. Selling yourself. You're not. Where's the value in that? You don't value yourself. So how can we change that and work, with other people to help them love themselves? So I said, this book is not just about me and my healing. It's about other people and their healing as well.
Yeah, and they're definitely gonna find themselves through this and what you've done, and it hasn't been in vain. Nothing that you've went through, nothing that God has called in your heart to create for other people. Like there's meaning in this, and there's gonna be so many lives changed because of this, because this isn't something that is spoken about. Not everybody wants to touch the topic of self-love and healing and reliving past traumas to move forward, to be able to move forward in life. People don't want to go there. It's too icky, it's too like hard, and nobody wants to sit with themselves and try to find out like who they really are, right? And who they really are. Like people don't want to do none of that work. So I definitely like, applaud you and commend you for doing the work yourself and finding it in your heart to, create, even if it was an ebook. You started somewhere, right? It was an ebook and you're probably like, I don't know what I'm doing, but something was called to me to do this, and you just took action, and you didn't have it all figured out, but you figured it out, right? You didn't stop, and you opened yourself up to other people helping you, which is very important in the journey of self-love, right? You have to also be able to trust and be open to receive from other people as well, because we tell ourselves we are worthy when we accept help, when we accept, you know um someone else to help navigate us. I mean, I think that's important to have that. I think I just have like something when you were talking that came to my mind, and I know people are probably watching like this is a lot of information, all these steps, but what would you tell someone that is watching right now? Like what is the like where can they start? Like like if someone wants to begin the journey of self-love using the principle in this book, like how can they begin? Like what would be the first step for you? Like, you know,
First step is getting the book. If you feel like you can't go through the book by yourself, then you can reach out to me. I do have classes online. You can email me at Andrea at Creative Love Network. You can find me on all social media platforms at Creative Love Network, or go to www.creativelovenetwork.com. And our CEO, Larry Love, he wrote the principles, the four principles and pillars, the love. So I want to give him his credit. So I didn't write that part. But I believe in giving people where credit is due. But it's
nice.
a whole program, right? So you could be in a group setting or you could be one-on-one. So it's up to you. You could pay for if you want to be in the anger management class or parenting class or the power to change the way to love yourself class, you could pay with your Medi-Cal or your insurance
Wow.
for the
It's
class.
good.
And we're trying to see if we can get the books included. But right now the books are, not
Yeah.
included. So, a separate fee. You can order from Amazon or Barnes and Noble. The books, or you can get them directly from me. Just shoot me an email or, on social media. And we have a whole team that are doing the work to, I forgot. I also have a teaching manual. So I
Oh,
work on that and it's going to be published soon. So if other people are interested in teaching the class, then we also teach, organizations and companies and schools that as well. So we're just trying to get this everywhere in churches, in group homes. So yes, so this is a journey, and I want it to be a powerful movement that we all just connect together and share and let people know that there's something out here if you feel like you're too ashamed or not ready to share your story or what you're going through, just get the book and you can start with the journal, either book. You can work on them by one on one by itself, or you get all of them together or get them, separately. But the main book is the 10 steps to changing and self love. And it's like almost 300 pages. So every
Mm.
day it'll be something that you work on. You can get a self sheet of paper and write, or you can get the company journal to help you with all of that stuff in a workbook. But all of them work together to help something with you every day. So I think that's important.
Awesome. Well, I'd like to do something. If there's anybody watching that is probably like, I would love that, but maybe I can't afford it. I would love to buy 5 bundles from you. And anybody that's interested, I'll pick, the first 5 people that, just leave a comment below, like just saying that, you're interested in the book, I will mail it out. I'll reach out to you personally. And once, I get them from Andrea, then I will, mail them out to you. So it'll be the bundle or whatever Andrea recommends is needed. Yeah. So that's something that I would like to do to kind of give my, I want to make sure that, if anybody wants it and wants their hands on it, that, money isn't a factor.
Thank you so much. And so these are our boxes. So she'll get 5 boxes like this. And it also comes with stress balls, and it has a mirror.
Oh, I love that.
As a stress ball mirror, have I was showing. So self-care, right? You put these over your eyes and go to sleep. And so this is the stress ball. It says power to change the way you love yourself. And then it even has a fan. So it's
I love it.
comes with a t-shirt. It has a thank you card, playing cards. Can you see them? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I
Playing
see it.
and some other little goodies. Do we have
Awesome.
time to do a quick mirror exercise?
Yes, we do.
Oh, I was about to say get your book, but you don't have it.
Yet.
So in the self-reflection through the mirror exercise in the journal, page 8, I'll just read it. So it's in here too. So you stand in the mirror. So we have these little mirrors, and you just spend time in front of the mirror, look into the mirror, and what emotions arise. Journal about that experience, right?
Mm,
And you say affirmations to yourself, like I am worthy, I am loved, I show up for myself, I believe in me. So we say all these positive things to
mm.
out loud, not in our minds. And we make it real and we believe them, right? So I just want to leave you all, with that. And it's important to talk to ourselves, anything that we do. The mirror can also be used as just having a conversation when you need to make certain decisions. If you're feeling some type of way about certain things you don't want to share with other people, look at yourself in the mirror and have that conversation. And you would say, Andrea, I have this tough decision I have to make today. I got a job offer, but I really want to focus on my entrepreneurship. But it's
Mm.
going to pay me a lot of money. But how is it going to benefit me? Is it going to make me happy? What do you think? So just have, those conversations. I think that's very important.
Yeah, that's very powerful. To look at yourself and like talk to yourself because we're so good at, right, at speaking to our friends, our family, and just talking to them and giving them advice. But, the same way we can do it for other people, we can do it for ourselves and
Mm.
speak to ourselves and speak life to ourselves and encourage ourselves and ask ourselves questions because, believe it or not, we have this sixth sense, this intuition, and we know we know what's right, wrong, decisions that we need to be made. And that develops more and more once you start actually taking action and seeing that, oh, wow, I did know, oh, I made that decision and that worked on my behalf. And the more we exercise it, the louder the voice becomes for us, where we can, be our voice. And it's a beautiful thing to have as well. So the mirror work is powerful overall.
Yes.
Awesome. Andrea, what are your future projects and goals related to self-love and personal development? Like, is there anything you're working on?
Yeah, so September the 20th, we have our first conference with 1,000 people.
Wow.
Wow.
We're going to introduce the book and get people interested and sell the book. So we're going to do a mock class with me and my team, Creative Love Network, September 20th and the 21st. I just was a keynote speaker for Level Up, for this program called Level Up for Teens in the System. I've been doing a lot of things. I was in Path, and that's a big organization through Diverse Verses with Paul Maybon and some other people, and I featured there, and I did a poem there. I did Poet 8 also with Diverse Verses, and I don't like really doing my poetry, but I keep getting like invited to these different places, and people really enjoy it. So I said I got to get over myself,
Why you don't really like doing it?
um, I just always felt like when they could read it, and that was my attitude about it. And
Mm,
I feel like when it's something personal like that, like I could read these books and talk to you about this, but when it's something that I wrote and it's a poem that's is personal, I don't want to be judged. I think that's the problem.
mm,
And then
mm,
when I get a good reaction, because when you're up there, it's just like you can't hear anything but you. And then after you watch the video, you're like, oh, they liked it. Or people come up to you and they say something. I wrote this poem called Dear Black Man, and they really loved it. And the men were like, even like other cultures was like, that was powerful and I loved it. They were crying and everything. And they was like, men need that. We don't get that. Like women. And I was like, oh, I also wrote one about women, but it doesn't hit as powerful as it did, for the men. And then I have a us poem talking about, us like Black people and the race, and how everybody always tell us that the white person is the bad people, but it's my own race that treat me, bad.
Mm,
And so
yeah.
at first people are looking like, oh, you get, but then at the end, it's great. But
mhm,
one day I got to do a
Yeah.
poem.
I just want to say something about like the poems, how you're like, you don't really like to read it. You don't really like to speak it out loud because you're like, you can read it yourself.
Yeah.
But there's so much power in Andrea Lee's voice. There's so much power in the vocals of what comes out and how you express it, because these are things that came from you. Your inner self wrote that, came up with it. It came from somewhere, I'm sure filled with love. So you speaking it hits totally different to the people hearing it versus let me just pick up this poet book, this, poems that Andrea wrote. There's more there. I think there's so much power in the words coming from the person that wrote it. So I mean, because like I know you and I know how you speak, and you speak with so much like it's very soothing. You know what I mean? It's very genuine, and it's filled with so much love for what you're saying and how you want what you want to come across. You're very mindful when you're speaking. So I'm very sure you're writing these things and they're beautiful, but you speaking them with your heart, it can, really hit home to the person, the people that are listening of what you're saying and what, you created. So I just want to encourage you to, if that's something that you're like, that there's beauty in that and it's very powerful. So
amen.
be
Let me
Amen.
open.
You guys want me to do a poem for you guys one
I would
day?
love that. I would love that.
Yeah, for
Yeah, I
sure.
love poems. When I was like in my teenage years, I used to like love writing poetry. I had like a book. I still have it to this day when I was 13, 14, and I would always write poems. It's so cute. So I kind of got away from it as an adult.
Hey,
But
people need
but it
to.
was in there. It was in there. I was a little poet.
But it's things like I don't just write to be writing. So when I went to the poetry school, I took a poetry class, and they were like, "Oh, write from this prompt," but I wasn't feeling it, and so I'm more of a free write poet, and I just write from like my experiences or what I feel at the moment. And so when I do those pieces that I really wrote from the heart, then they hit different than the poems that they gave me a prompt to do.
Mm, yeah. Either way, girl, your voice. Your
Thank you.
voice. Stop. So I'm gonna cut there and I just want to ask you something, Andrea. So there's I don't think we covered yet the question of what role does self-love play in your work with Los Angeles Poet Society and Creative Love Network? So I can make that like the next one. And then we're pretty much done. And then I will ask you, like, is there any final thoughts or messages you'd like to share with our audience? And then you can do that. And then I will say thank you for being here, la la la. And then, Antoine can say, yeah, and thank you. And then I'll wrap it up. So
Okay,
did you feel like we didn't cover that question? I just want to make sure
we can
I
do it.
can I can
Yeah.
do it. All right, awesome. So Andrea, I know you've been talking quite a few about the Creator Love Network. So I would like to know, like, what role does self-love play in your work with the Los Angeles Poet Society and the Creative Love Network? Like, how has that like played a role in what you've been creating?
So it's important that we build these relationships, right? With Creative Love Network and LA Poor Society, I felt like I learned a different part of myself and a different type of love that I never experienced before, like the trusting part of allowing people to help me, right? Because I don't like help from anybody. I don't care if it's monetary or just helping me with something, but I'm comfortable with asking Creative Love Network, which is Larry Love and Miss Diane. They're married and they have a beautiful relationship, and I never really seen that before,
Mm,
right? So just having that friendship with the both of them as a married couple, and just be able to talk to them and feel comfortable. And sometimes we're on the phone for like hours, or me and Diane is asleep. We have this group chat and we text back and forth all night when we have ideas because Larry is a dynamic performer and poet and everything, just family person. He's a really great person. Diane is a really beautiful, comforting, person. She has a lot of great talents, that great parents, great mom. And I had an issue with mothers because I told you I didn't have a good one. So I was like, I don't like people mom. I don't want to know, people moms and things like that. But just finding that different type of love and getting over myself, right? I
mm,
had to do that too, and learning to be receptive of other things and other people, and knowing that I could see that love in them, not only from the both of them, but also through their children is also loving and respectful. And their daughter is Kyra is just such an intelligent being with her finances. I think she really knows what self-love is.
wow.
Because she had two, beautiful parents, and that's important. And then with LA Poor Society with Jessica and Juan, and they have these little children. And when people have small children, they allow them to throw tantrums and be rude and disrespectful. All Juan have to do is give them a look. And I like where I live, I don't invite everybody to my home. They're welcome, right? And I'm a very private person and I don't like company, but I have a good time with both of these married couples. And Diane and Larry children are older, but you could tell like the way they raised them. And then with Juan and Jessica, I love their kids, Sol and Luna. And so I'm also writing a book with them called So and Luna Cooks Pizza with Little Chef Lee. So I think this week or next week they're gonna come over. We're gonna make pizza. We're gonna record it. We're making a book. I have the book cover and everything. They come over. Luna doesn't want to leave. She's so comfortable, but just being comfortable in spaces with different people when I didn't have that at all growing up. So it's
Wow.
different for me. And I'm loving this journey that I'm on and experiencing these different things. It's being comfortable here with you and Antoine, just having this conversation because you guys create a platform where you're comfortable to share that. I feel like we're in each other's living room, we having a conversation, we're gonna have
Yep.
our dinner later.
Yep.
So it's just
Yeah.
evolving and learning and knowing and valuing and trusting myself. So I'm going through these different steps and I'm realizing and knowing with these different connections that I have with these different people. And it's beautiful, right? And just trusting and talking to, like I could talk to my friend Andrea about anything without judgment, without her me think, knowing that she's not gonna go tell somebody else our conversation. With my friend Lynn, like I could just have these conversations with these women because I didn't trust people at all.
Yeah.
Right? From being in a system and growing up in a system as a little kid, I have no trust for the system because I'm like, I continue to go through these different things with my mom, and I end up in a group home, and you keep giving me back. Why?
Mm,
She tried to kill me, like, and why am I here? Why are you giving me back? My eye is falling, like it's hanging out of my socket. I'm beaten and bruised, and you tell me to call? Like, it's
wow.
like, I don't understand this system, right? And so my thing was, I'm never gonna allow anybody to hurt me. Nobody is ever gonna put their hands on me. And I would tell people, like, you're not gonna touch me. I never was in an abusive relationship. And my whole life, I can count on one hand how many fights I had, and they were mostly with my siblings as a child. But I don't get
Mm,
into confrontations. I don't argue. I don't fuss. I don't fight. I don't put myself in those situations because I don't know the outcome of it. And I don't want to go back into that defense mode or trying to defend myself and just run away from the love that I have now. So I'm
yeah.
aware of situations and people that's not good for me, and I say no.
Yeah. Well, I love the relationships that you do have now. And I'm very grateful for, the people that you have around you with the Los Angeles Poet Society and the Creative Love Network and these, couples, these human beings that have embraced you and that have filled you with love and support and encouragement and everything that you deserve because you freely always give. So I can totally see the inspiration for, this book and the self-love journey and everything that you're doing and creating these partnerships because from what you're saying, they've been able to teach these things to their kids and you see it,
Mhm.
right? You see how it's impacting you, that you're opening up more, like, you're
My son,
collaborating, yeah.
so my son Andre, he has a daughter, and he's more expressive now. Like we talk, he loved me, I love him, but he has this, like he really likes Larry. And he likes Diane. He loved, I could say that he's growing to love them. He's opened
Mm,
up, having a conversation. He wants to read The Power to Change the Way to Love Yourself. He asked for a book. So he's reading the book, he's learning the information, and it's not just because of me, not saying that I couldn't do it on my own, but just having these team of people that can make an impact on your children's life, especially your grown children, right? Because they're stuck in who they are. But he comes and help me when we do have a book sale or we have a something that we're putting on the show like the Kings and Queens. If I'm cooking for something, he comes, he brings his friends, and everybody love him. And he's just so open and happy and laughing. He thinks he's a comedian, So it's just seeing him happy and that joy in a
wow.
company that I have, and it's so beautiful. Like Creative Love Network and Los Angeles Poor Society is really, really great networks to be a part of.
Awesome. Yes, like that's what I was like just thinking, like, very happy for you, knowing you that, you have these circles and you have these people that empower you and that you can empower and that is influencing not only you, but also your family. So this is just going to be something that's going to be generationally passed down by, just work that you decided to do years ago because of everything that you went through and, you've been able to come out of and have a passion to help other people through as well. So, Andrea, I just definitely want to thank you for being here. Is there any last final thoughts or message that you would like to share with our audience? I know you shared so much, but is there any final thoughts?
I think it's important that this book is very important for everybody across every genre, every
Hmm.
race, every religion. Self-love is universal, and we all need that. So, if you need the book, like Ariana said, reach out to her, the first five people. She's gonna get you the whole collection.
Yeah, just leave a comment self-love so I
Yes,
can know and like go
boxes,
ahead.
and you can go to Amazon or go to our website again, creativelovenetwork.com, or reach us on social media at creativelovenetwork.com. If you want to have one-on-one sessions with me, if you feel like you can't do it on your own, you can sign up for any one of my classes, and I'm here to support you all. And thank you so much for supporting and being here and listening.
Awesome. No, thank you, Andrea, for being here
Yes.
and sharing and being so open and being so awesome. And, we definitely appreciate you. We appreciate you sharing about your book, The Power to Change the Way You Love Yourself. I mean, just the title alone, I love it. I hope, everyone out there that's listening, grabs a copy of this book or drop a comment. Self-love, the first 5 people. I will communicate with you directly, get your mailing address and get that out to you as soon as possible. And I don't know if Antoine, there's any final thoughts that you have before we wrap up.
No, just thank you. As always, thank you for always allowing a space for us to all kind of collaborate together and learn from you. And I think it's just I'm grateful from my heart just for you continue to share your knowledge and experiences with us and our viewers. So thank you.
Can I do a piece of a poem?
Go ahead. Yeah.
It's the journey to self-love. I thirst for love that I never had before. I dreamt of it long for it. I came to the realization that I had it all along. Once I found my true self, I knew that true love was inside of me. As I embraced my true self, I began to see the world through a different lens. I realized that the love I had been searching for all this time was within me. But
Mm.
now I knew that I deserved and loved to be loved in return. I opened my heart and allowed myself to be vulnerable, to show my true self to others. And in doing so, I found the love that I had always longed for. I found the people who accepted me for who I am, who
Mm.
I was, and who I will be in the future, who loved me unconditionally, flaws and all. They saw the beauty in my imperfections and celebrated them. They lifted me up when I was down, supported me through tough times, and cheered me on as I pursued my dreams. Through this journey of self discovery, I learned that true love isn't about finding someone else to complete us. It's about loving ourselves first and foremost, and then sharing that love with others. It's about the authentic, vulnerable, and open hearted and attracting the people who resonate with our true selves. Love yourself.
Awesome.
It's the journey to self love.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. That was awesome. All right, y'all. So definitely I hope that you got everything that you needed from this episode. I definitely did. I'm sure Antoine did. Andrea, thank you so much for being here with us again. You're always welcome to the Evolution on the Mic podcast. We love you here. I appreciate you, girl. As usual, y'all, if you have any thoughts, comments, or anything that you would like to share, we'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below. And with that, thank you for tuning in. Until our next episode, always remember that having faith in God, having faith in yourself, and having faith in others will create the evolution that you are seeking.